On the day of choosing husbands with my sister, I was reborn and discovered I could hear people's inner thoughts. I heard my sister think, this time, I must secure a good husband before anyone else. Then in her haste, she snatched away the gentle man I married in my past life, leaving me with the abusive brute who beat her daily in our previous lives. I laughed. Did she really think the man I married before was any better? I was reborn on the day my sister and I were to choose our husbands. Across the dining table sat two men of similar age. One was Pei Chuan, the eldest son of the Pei family, a man of cold demeanor. There's Pei Yu, the youngest son of the Pei family, though illegitimate. He's got a gentle temperament. This time, I must secure a good husband before anyone else does. A woman's voice suddenly reached my ears. It was my sister's voice. I glanced at her, but her lips weren't moving. Her eyes were fixed unblinkingly on Pei Yu. I'm going to steal you away later. Her voice sounded again. That's when I realized, not only had I been reborn, but I could also hear people's inner thoughts. Judging from my sister's words, she must have been reborn too, otherwise, she wouldn't have said something like that. Sure enough, the next moment she walked over and sat beside Pei Yu, gazing at him shyly. Hi, I'm Suhi, I like you. My father suddenly spoke up. Sun Yin, since your sister has already chosen Pei Yu, you'll marry Pei Chuan instead. At these words, triumph flashed in my sister's eyes as she thought, this lifetime, you'll take the beatings meant for me. In our past life, my sister had married Pei Chuan. Pei Chuan was a brilliant businessman who worked around the clock, and rumored to be emotionally distant. My sister went to see him repeatedly, only to be thrown out of the room battered and bruised every time. In the end, the Pei family matriarch declared her infertile and cast her out of the household. Though my husband Pei Yu held little sway in the Pei family, he provided me with more than enough to live comfortably. He doted on me endlessly, accompanying me shopping, dining, and dating, spoiling me rotten. The entire Pei family knew how deeply in love we were. Later, Pei Chuan suddenly passed away from poisoning, and Pei Yu inherited the family business. My status in the Pei household skyrocketed overnight, consumed by jealousy. My sister deliberately rammed her car into me while I was out shopping, killing us both. Alright, Dad, I actually quite like Pei Chuan too, I responded with a smile and went to sit beside Pei Chuan. There's no denying the man's intimidating presence. The moment I sat down, an icy aura seemed to envelop me, stifling any urge to speak. No wonder my sister suffered so badly at his hands in our past life. I tried to read his thoughts, but his mind was completely silent. Yet when Pei Yu turned to his sister with a smile, I caught his whisper, "What a beautiful little darling." Those words sent a shiver down my spine. Instinctively grabbed Pei Chuan's hand. Though aloof by nature, his hands were surprisingly warm. My movement caught his sideways glance. I hastily released his hand, and only then did he remain silent. The man looks pretty intimidating, too, but I'd rather follow him than that viper Pei Yu. In this lifetime, I'm determined to change my tragic fate. I'll make my fortune, stand on my own feet, and depend on no one. My sister and I had a joint wedding ceremony. In our previous life, we got married around the same time too. Back then, Pei Chuan didn't show up for the wedding, while Pei Yu arrived bright and early. Everyone said he was the more considerate husband, just as expected. This life is no different. Pei Yu, dressed in a white suit, hurried over and whisked my sister away. As she passed by, my sister gave me a smug look and said, "Little sister, why didn't Pei Chuan come to pick you up?" I simply smiled and replied, "No need for your concern, sister, you should worry about yourself." My words made her face darken with displeasure. "Go ahead and laugh, let's see if you'll still be smiling after what's coming." With that thought, she headed downstairs with Pei Yu, but it's too soon to say, who'll have the last laugh remains to be seen. Pei Chuan's absence from the wedding left me and my sister subjected to the same gossip and judgmental stares we endured in our past lives. My sister beamed with delight, breathlessly confessing to Pei Yu, "I love you, Yu." She then pressed her lips against his, pulling away with glistening traces of saliva before fixing her gaze mockingly on me. I knew she was waiting to relish my humiliation, but I'm no fool. I won't storm off in anger like she did in my past life. That would have given both the guests and the Pei family ammunition for gossip. 3. I remember how everyone said my sister lacked composure and was unfit to be the Pei family's eldest daughter-in-law. Consequently, old Madame Pei never treated her kindly after the marriage, making her life in the Pei household utterly miserable. I held the microphone and flashed the audience a confident smile. H1 has an important business meeting today, so I'll be representing him for the toast later. Hope you'll forgive the substitution. The murmurs in the audience ceased as these words were spoken. Old Madame Pei, seated at the head table, regarded me with newfound respect. The Pei family is wealthy and influential, and cares deeply about face and public perception. At times like this, as the daughter-in-law, she mustn't panic but carry herself with the poise of the lady of the house. The elder sister caught Madame Pei's gaze, a flicker of irritation flashing in her eyes. How revolting. I'll make sure you humiliate yourself during the tea ceremony later. Honestly, I think being able to hear people's inner thoughts is truly a blessing. With this golden cheat code, everything becomes so much easier. When it came time for the tea ceremony, I gracefully lifted my skirt and walked toward old Madame Pei. My sister kept her eyes locked on me, silently counting in her mind, 1, 2, 3. In the next instant, I sidestepped to grab the tea. My sister crashed hard onto the floor, drenched in spilled tea. You okay? Pei rushed to help her up, thought to herself, what an idiot. All eyes were on them. Old Madame Pei's face was livid with anger. Such recklessness. Is this any way for the second daughter-in-law of the Pei family to behave? Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. My sister apologized hastily, but her eyes burned with resentment. If I were her, I'd stop causing trouble and live a quiet life this time around. But since she's determined to make my life difficult, I won't just take it lying down. The wedding ended abruptly after my sister made a scene. Old Mrs. Pei didn't give her a single kind look the entire time, but when she looked at me, her eyes were full of warmth. She even took my hand and said, Sun Yan, I'll make sure Pei Chuan comes home tonight to keep you company and make it up to you. Just as expected, Pei Chuan came home that evening. He opened the door while loosening his tie, exhaustion written all over his face. I hurried over to take his coat. 3, long day. H1. He just glanced at me without saying a word. In my past life, I heard from the servants that Pei Chuan never returned on our wedding night. My sister waited alone in the bridal chamber, becoming the laughingstock of everyone. When she complained to old Madame Pei, she got scolded instead, told she lacked the charm to keep a man's heart. While Pei Chuan was showering, I made his bed and brewed some tea for him. Then I tidied up the couch, preparing to sleep there alone. When Pei Chuan came out, a flicker of surprise crossed his eyes at the sight. I quickly said, you take the bed, I'll sleep on the couch. Sun Yan, are you playing hard to get? He narrowed his eyes at me, the loosely tied bathrobe revealing a glimpse of his damp chest still glistening with water droplets. I had to admit, he had an impressive physique. I quickly averted my gaze. No. There was never any affection between us. Sharing a bed would just make us both uncomfortable. If possible, I'd like to work with you. This is just a marriage of convenience after all. Many couples in such arrangements live separate private lives while keeping up appearances. I married you simply for financial security. I don't expect love. Hearing my words, he suddenly smirked. You're quite clever. That works for me too. I agree to your terms. I'm just an ordinary person. I don't have the skills or confidence to control a man's heart. After all, in the Pei family, how he treats me depends entirely on old Madame Pei's opinion of me. I refuse to end up like my sister in her past life, ostracized by everyone. That wouldn't do me any good. And in his past life, he even abused my sister. I don't want to provoke him and get beaten either. So I'd rather just keep the peace with him, in this lifetime. I just want to use my money to start my own company and make it big through my own efforts. I had Pei Chuan post a photo of us holding hands on social media, with the caption, Happy Newlyweds. The reason was to make everyone think our relationship was fine. Besides, I noticed his social media is practically empty, just this one carefree post, nothing else. Someone like him must lead such a dull life every day. When it was time to sleep, he actually took the bed and left me the couch. Zero chivalry. Whatever, I should count my blessings. I was woken up by Pei Chuan early the next morning. He was blasting music while doing push-ups at the crack of dawn. They say emotionally detached men are all scrawny weaklings, but those 8-pack abs and powerful calves of his radiate pure strength. You're in way better shape than Pei. Stop staring. I'm not interested in you. He suddenly spoke up, getting up from the ground. Get dressed. You're having breakfast with me. 4. My subconscious was telling me this would make everyone think we're getting along well. Honestly, he seems quite approachable to me. So why did he hit my sister in the past life? After getting ready, I went out with Pei Chuan. The moment we stepped out, I saw my sister walking hand in hand with Pei, fingers tightly interlaced. My sister wore a strapless dress, her collarbone and shoulders covered in hickeys, deliberately leaning in to show them off. She wore a smug expression as her eyes raked over me from head to toe. All bundled up like that, must be hiding bruises from a beating. The thought flashed through her mind before she broke into a triumphant smirk. How was your wedding night, little sister? I'm wearing a proper long-sleeved cheapao today. Seems my sister forgot how much old Madame Pei despises vulgar outfits in the Pei household, and heavy makeup is strictly forbidden too, but I couldn't be bothered to remind her. Elder sister. According to the Pei family's hierarchy, you should address me as sister-in-law, not younger sister. Her face darkened as she gritted her teeth indignantly. Even Pei Chuan never insisted on such formalities. Who are you to demand this? Then she turned her gaze toward Pei Chuan. Pei Chuan, step forward and say something. I could feel Pei Chuan beside me, his entire aura growing colder by the second. Pei Yu cursed inwardly. Damn idiot, just wait till I deal with you tonight. Then he tugged at his sister's hand, signaling her to stop talking, but she remained completely unaware of the gravity of the situation. Pei Yu, what is the first rule of the Pei family? Pei Chuan spoke softly. Pei Yu immediately lowered his head. Sorry bro, I'll teach her a lesson right now. The next second, a loud smack echoed as he slapped his sister across the face. Hurry up and greet your brother and sister-in-law properly. Her face flushed crimson from the slap. She was absolutely seething with rage, but she knew better than to provoke Pei Chuan, so she reluctantly muttered, "Good morning, brother and sister-in-law." With that, Pei Yu promptly dragged her away. I remembered the Pei family's foremost rule: no one shall disrespect the heir or his wife, nor address them by their given names. Violators receive 30 lashes, and Pei Chuan was the family's chosen heir. In my past life, I memorized every family rule just to survive. After my sister married Pei Chuan, she bullied me relentlessly, all because I respected those rules and never dared disrespect her. I assumed she knew the family code, but turns out she never bothered to learn it. That's why she thought she could keep tormenting me in this lifetime. By the time we reached the dining hall, my sister had already taken her punishment. Pale-faced, she kept her head down and didn't dare make another scene for the moment. I distinctly noticed Pei Yu pricking her hand with a needle under the table. You bitch, this is all your fault, making me suffer like this. He cursed inwardly while tightening his grip with increasing force. In my past life, he started abusing me shortly after we married and forbade me from speaking out. Trapped with no escape, I endured immense suffering. That's why I'd rather stay with Pei Chuan than be with him. Sis, you chose this husband yourself in this lifetime, don't blame me for it. When old Madame Pei arrived, we all stood up to greet her, leaning on her cane. She was about to motion for us to sit when her gaze locked onto my sister. My sister hadn't changed. She was still wearing that strapless dress. Sensing the old woman's gaze, she forced a smile, looking thoroughly embarrassed. 5. Mom, it was all Ayu's doing. He said he wanted me to have his baby. At these words, the old woman flew into a rage and struck her across the back with her cane. Shameless hussy. What happens between you two is your business, but keep it private. Flaunting such revealing outfits in public is downright disgraceful. In my past life, a servant got fired by Madame Pei just for wearing shorts. That's why I've been extra careful ever since. It was only by treading carefully that I managed to survive in the Pei household. That's why my sister thinks my good life is all thanks to landing a decent man. But her logic is flawed. Why should happiness depend on someone else? Mom, I'm sorry, I didn't know. My sister broke out in a cold sweat from the pain of being beaten. Pei Yu quickly jumped in to explain. Mom, it's all my fault. I forgot to remind her. Though he said this outwardly, inwardly he was gloating. Serves you right. Seeing you get hit makes my day. TSK, what a creep, being the new daughter-in-law. Old Mrs. Pei couldn't say much more. She took her seat and urged everyone to eat. Pei Chuan remained silent throughout, though he did serve me food during the meal. I could feel my sister's furious glare. She looked ready to tear me limb from limb. My smile widened with genuine delight. Thank you, darling. Old Mrs. Pei gave me an approving smile. Sun Yen, after dinner you should accompany Pei Chuan to the company for some hands-on experience. As the eldest daughter-in-law of the Pei family, it's essential you familiarize yourself with business matters. I knew old Mrs. Pei would say that. In my past life, she'd said the same thing to my sister at the dinner table. But my sister just replied, I don't want to study, I'll always have H1 to depend on. She turned her back on such a golden opportunity, left penniless when kicked out of the house. Okay, Mom, I replied to the old lady. Pei Chuan took me to the company. In the car, I kept trying to read his thoughts, but there was nothing, of course. A man like him wouldn't be tied down by anything or troubled. After arriving at the company, Peichuan took me to his office. "Wait here for me." With those words, he walked out. Through the glass door, I saw him hurrying to the conference room. Curious, I followed him. I saw him in the conference room negotiating with a British man about selling his product formula to Peichuan. Good thing I did my homework beforehand. The Pei family's loaded. And this formula's barely worth a few hundred RMB. This time, I'm gonna fleece them good. I could hear the British man's inner thoughts. I shot him a surprised glance. His face remained poker stable, giving zero hint of the shady scheme brewing in his mind. He quoted a steep price of 3 million. Peichuan hesitated and left the offer hanging. "What do you mean?" Seizing the momentum, he added, "Mr. Pei, this product will deliver value far beyond 3 million. Just as Peichuan was about to agree, I barged in through the door. I greeted the British man with a simple hello in English. Then I picked up that bottle of skincare serum he developed and examined it. As a woman, I understand skincare better. Your formula only has brightening agents, no anti-wrinkle or anti-aging properties, and you're an engineer. You know better than I do that whitening claims are mostly marketing hype with minimal actual effects. So tell me, what makes this formula worth 3 million? The British man froze on the spot. Peichuan watched me with amused interest, not interrupting. I realized he was permitting me to speak with him this way. Emboldened, I continued, "But since this is an imported product, and you've promoted it on social media, the public already knows and trusts your brand. Therefore, I can offer you this amount." I held up one finger to him. "A million," the man exclaimed in surprise. "Jack, a million is more than fair. Think it over." Peichuan fixed his gaze on him and said, "No, no, no." I cut him off. "I'll give you 10 grand. It's just a few $100 worth of stuff. 10,000 is already my final offer." The British man stood up in shock, stammering in broken Chinese. "Miss, who are you? How can you quote like this? How am I supposed to do business this way?" "Fine, I'll walk away then. It's not like you're the only seller in town." With that, he turned to leave. "Jack, I'll give you 1 million. Sign the contract now. Then I need you to apologize to my wife." 6. Jack immediately turned around at these words, his eyes lighting up with delight. I couldn't understand Peichuan's approach and hurriedly tried to stop him, but he shook his head at me, signaling me to stay silent, so I had to drop it. "Boss Pei, you really know how to wheel and deal." Jack burst out laughing, then apologized to me. "My apologies, I didn't realize you were Boss Pei's wife." Then Peichuan took him to sign the contract. After signing, I asked him in confusion, "That thing is only worth a few $100, why pay 1 million? Peichuan poured a cup of coffee and said leisurely, "You've got good business sense, but you don't understand the market yet. Jack's formula itself is worthless. I knew that all along. What I'm after is the brand he built, though it's not hugely famous yet. The crucial thing is every young woman already knows it. With just a bit more promotion, I'll easily recoup that million." Suddenly, everything clicked. So that's how it is. No wonder Jack was so confident. Coming here was definitely the right call. I'm learning so much, but I'm curious, how did you know it was only worth a few hundred? Peichuan fixed his intense gaze on me. I chuckled awkwardly, just a wild guess. He didn't press further, so I seized the moment to propose taking over the branch office. In my past life, since Peiyu held no standing in the Pei family, he couldn't offer me anything. I've always wanted to run my own business and be my own boss. That way I won't need to rely on anyone, just myself. Once I've earned enough, I can leave. You've got big ambitions. Don't tell me you're planning to take over the company, make your fortune, and then bail. He stared at me like he could see right through me. Damn, he's even better at reading people than I am. For the first time, I felt inferior. Even with all my advantages, I still couldn't measure up to him. I guess that's what you call natural talent. Of course not. I just wanted something to do. He took a sip of coffee and said, "All right, but only after you've learned the ropes from me." In the following days, I shadowed Peichuan at the company for training. I gained valuable insights into interpersonal dynamics and business acumen. That day, to my surprise, he actually took the initiative to treat me to dinner. It's that upscale Western restaurant again. To my surprise, I ran into my sister and Peiyu here. My sister was cutting steak for him when she spotted me and Peichuan. She immediately set down her utensils and stared at me in astonishment. "Little sister, you're here too." Realizing her slip of the tongue, she quickly corrected herself. "Brother, sister-in-law, you're here for dinner too." The next second, an inner voice spoke up again. Damn it, of all times to run into her. Can't afford to lose face now. Yes, H1 and I came for dinner together. I took Pei-chuan's arm. And he didn't pull away. Pei-yu hurried over to greet us, brother, sister-in-law. Pei-chuan ignored them and simply led me to our seats. I could see my sister grinding her teeth in frustration behind me. She must be wondering why Pei-chuan didn't hit me and even took me out for dinner instead. She was waiting outside the restroom when I went in. The look she gave me could have swallowed me whole. That look in his eyes was identical to when he ran me over with his car in my past life. You must have gotten beaten black and blue by Pei-chuan in private. Stop pretending, you make me sick. I chuckled softly at her words while pretending to accidentally notice the needle marks on her arm. Oh my, sis, what happened to you? Why so many needle marks? A flash of panic crossed her eyes as she hastily covered her arm, glaring at me viciously. None of your business. This is just how Au and I play, but I guess it's normal you wouldn't know, since Pei-chuan probably hasn't even touched you yet, has he? Not like Au, he keeps me up all night until I'm completely exhausted. TCH, she's clearly struggling yet still putting on a brave face. I really wonder how long she can keep up this tough act. I just smiled. That's great. Wishing you both all the happiness. The moment I said that, I just wanted to leave. She suddenly grabbed me by the hair. You bitch, are you mocking me? I frowned, still the same lunatic as in my past life. I struggled, demanding she let go of me. Just then, Pei-chuan burst in and kicked her aside. Do you know the punishment for disrespecting your sister-in-law? Pei-chuan pulled me close, looking down at her with contempt. I remember. That offense meant being thrown into the dungeon. My sister had already managed to lock me in there once before. The place was crawling with countless rats, cockroaches, and snakes, so she knew exactly what punishment awaited her. My sister turned deathly pale with fear. Brother, I didn't mean it. Please don't treat me this way. But Pei-chuan wouldn't show mercy. Once he made up his mind, nothing could change it. 7. He had Pei-yu take their sister away. Pei-yu cursed inwardly. Hope you rot in there, always causing trouble. Pei-chuan led me back to the bedroom and checked my head. You okay? It's nothing. She just yanked my hair a bit. I pushed him away and straightened my clothes and hair. But why did you suddenly come to the restroom? I gazed into Pei-chuan's pitch-black eyes. I noticed you hadn't come back. I'd like to ask you again. What caused the conflict with her this time? I hesitated, knowing I couldn't possibly tell him it was because my sister had been deliberately provoking me since her rebirth. So I said, she boasted about how happy she is with Pei-yu in bed every day, unlike you who never touch me. That's why we fought. At these words, a flicker passed through Pei-chuan's eyes. So you're implying something. I suddenly realized my words had been misunderstood and quickly waved my hands. No, that's not what I meant. I was just explaining why there's a conflict. Sun-yin, have you ever thought about doing that with me? He stared at me intently. Of course not. I answered immediately. I've said I just want to live a comfortable life relying on you. Is that all? I nodded emphatically. He fell silent and suddenly stormed out, slamming the door. I have no idea which of my words upset him, and I don't even want to find out. I just want to focus on achieving my own goals. The next day, Pei-chuan didn't take me to the main office. He told me to go to the branch company by myself. So I focused on managing the branch company. I planned to quit after making 10 million. I worked on projects and partnerships daily, generating substantial profits for the company. Madame Pei allowed me to take my cut directly from the earnings. Just as I was reveling in my financial success, my sister emerged from the dungeon. That day, I happened to be coming home from work. I noticed she'd lost considerable weight, yet still took care with her makeup and wore lovely clothes. 8. She walked toward me step by step with Pei-yu in her arms. Sis, I've already talked to Mom about shadowing you to learn the business ropes and help lighten your load. Pei-yu thought to himself. Soon I'll make sure both you and Pei-chuan die together. It suddenly occurred to me. In my past life, Pei-chuan had died unexpectedly, so it was his doing. And in this life, he's not only targeting Pei-chuan again, he's coming after me too. I struggled to rein in my turbulent emotions as I stared at my sister standing before me. Fine, come tomorrow then. I said it deliberately, itching to uncover what sinister scheme she was brewing. The very next instant, her inner voice sneered, what a fool. Just wait, soon I'll finish you all off and live the high life alone. Turns out she'd been in the dungeon for days and was still lucid. Little did she know I could hear people's thoughts. How could she possibly kill me? In his previous life, Pei-chuan died from poisoning. It suddenly occurred to me. Back in Pei-yu's basement, I saw a cabinet filled with colorful potions. He used to experiment on me with those potions all the time. Sometimes I'd black out, other times I'd become unnaturally hyperactive. Looking back now, those must have been poison brewing concoctions. I brought my sister to the company and had her start as an intern. She's learned to keep her emotions in check now. She agrees to whatever I say and does whatever I ask. I know the reason she's become like this is because she's plotting a murder. Peiyu wants both me and Pei Chuan dead, but she wants me, Pei Chuan, and even Peiyu all dead. Still, her intention to kill Peiyu is something I can use to my advantage. Soon enough, I made my move. I went to see Peiyu behind Pei Chuan's back. I know Peiyu well. He prefers obedient women. That's why I managed to stay by his side for so long before. I deliberately dressed provocatively, locking eyes with him. Peiyu, I'm in love with you. His interest was instantly piqued. Sis-in-law. Aren't you afraid my brother will kill you? I've always wanted to be with you. I bit my lip, feigning shyness. There's something else. My sister's planning to poison you. I overheard her discussing it with some man at the office yesterday. Peiyu's face flushed with anger the moment these words were spoken. Is that for real? Dead serious? She said you've been beating her all along, so she's gonna finish you off. She said she wants to climb the social ladder. Good thing I've got my past memories. Now I can play them like a fiddle. When Peiyu heard me say that, he completely trusted me. Because no one else knew about his perverted secrets except him and his sister, he said, just wait till I teach that bitch a lesson. Sis-in-law, just wait for me. Once I finish off Pei Chuan and her, you'll be my wife. I'll take care of you. With that, he left. Does he really think I'm stupid? As if I'd follow him, I immediately went to find Pei Chuan again. His life or death doesn't really concern me, but in this lifetime at least he helped me earn money, and even took the time to share workplace advice with me. In the office, he looked startled when he heard what I said. What proof do you have that Peiyu wants to harm me? I pulled out my voice recorder and played back the conversation I just had with Peiyu. The first part was me deliberately seducing him. Even I cringed listening to it. I quickly explained. I was just pretending to gain his trust. Pei Chuan didn't respond, but his face darkened. I reluctantly fell silent. The next second, he pulled me into his arms. A wave of pine scent enveloped me, and I could hear his heart pounding. I was completely overwhelmed. He stared at me intently. 9. Sun Yen. I advise you not to entertain any thoughts of betrayal. As long as you remain my wife, you owe me your loyalty. This silly child, how did their focus shift to this of all things? Never mind that for now. The real issue is your brother is trying to harm you. What are you going to do about it? Then let's see if he's got what it takes. If he can't finish me off, he'll be the one who ends up dead. Pei Chuan seemed unfazed by the matter and even took me to a banquet that evening. He said it would benefit the branch office's development and help us network with potential clients. As I followed him inside, I could feel numerous eyes sizing me up. Those were all malicious stares. Men are all scum. I never should have brought her here. Pei Chuan's inner monologue suddenly surfaced. I stared at his profile in shock. His face remained expressionless, yet such words had actually crossed his mind. And what the hell does that mean? Noticing my gaze, he looked down at me. What's wrong? Then he added silently, what an airhead. That just blew my fucking mind. Since when did the aloof, domineering CEO I know start saying things like this? I tried to steady my emotions, shaking my head and saying it was nothing. After the dinner party, Pei Chuan took me home. Peiyu and my sister were waiting for us in the living room. My sister took the initiative to invite us for dinner. Peiyu stared intently at my chest before smiling and saying, bro, sis-in-law. Suhi and I bought some delicious ingredients today. Let's eat together. Damn, their intentions couldn't be more obvious. I genuinely wonder how Pei Chuan from my past life got poisoned by such clumsy tactics. The table was laden with delicious dishes, yet I didn't dare take a single bite. Under the table, I grabbed Pei Chuan's hand to signal him not to eat either, but the next second, he picked up food and ate it before I could react. He even said, it's quite tasty, let's all dig in. At these words, a glimmer of joy flashed in both my sister's and Peiyu's eyes. I kept pinching Pei Chuan's hand in panic, yet he remained completely still. 10. I clearly warned him it would harm him. Why did he still eat it? The moment this thought crossed my mind, Pei Chuan and my sister collapsed onto the table together. Old Madame Pei emerged, her voice trembling with rage. Guards, throw these beasts into the dungeon. Let them rot there for eternity. Sun Yen, I'm not the fool you take me for. Pei Chuan turned his gaze toward me. I told my mom ages ago to install surveillance cameras all over the house. When we caught Peiyu poisoning the wine, we swapped out their tainted drinks and replaced them with sedatives. His voice suddenly dropped to a whisper. But you seem terrified of me dying. Don't tell me you've fallen for me. For some reason, my heart started racing when he said that. I didn't mean that. I was just afraid if you died, there'd be no one left for me to lean on. He flashed a radiant smile. Oh really? After my sister and Peiyu were thrown into the dungeon, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Those two people I feared most were finally out of the picture. Now that I've made enough money, the next step is to divorce Pei Chuan. I've been looking for an opportunity, but Pei Chuan has been so busy lately and rarely comes home. I can only wait for the right moment. That day, I heard from the servants that Peiyu and his sister had been insisting on seeing me. I went to see my sister first. Her hair was disheveled, her face weathered, with unmistakable resentment in her eyes. How did you know I was going to kill you all? Why did you know? The next second, her face lit up with realization. I get it now. You've come back too, haven't you? I smiled at her. Took you long enough to figure it out. Sis, enraged by my words, she lunged at the cell bars, gripping them like she wanted to strangle me through the metal. You deceitful bitch. You played this so well. You knew Peiyu was a monster all along, didn't you? So you just watched me walk into the abyss. Sun Yen, how could you be so cruel? The cruel one isn't me, it's you. I stared intently at her face, which bore an uncanny resemblance to mine. She was my own sister, yet in our past life, she was the one who killed me with her own hands. In this lifetime, if I couldn't hear people's inner thoughts, I'd probably be dead by now. You chose Peiyu yourself. And Pei Chuan was also your own choice. Yet you're never satisfied with either, so you blame me instead of reflecting on your own flaws. You want to rely on men, while I choose to rely on myself. That's the fundamental difference. But why is it that you can thrive with anyone you're with? My sister snapped at me. What you see is me doing fine, but behind the scenes I've been fighting to save myself, so I've earned every bit of this. But you put in zero effort. Always waiting for others to rescue you. That's why you deserve ending up like this. I dropped that line and walked away. My sister roared in frustration behind me. Just you wait. Next time I won't lose to you. Entering Peiyu's cell, I found him meticulously folding his blanket. He still had the same obsessive-compulsive tendencies as before. Spotting me, he chuckled. Sun Yen, you're clever. Exceptionally good at disguising your true self. You know what? I actually believed you'd follow me. I was ready to kill Suhi and Pei Chuan for you. But you gave me such a pleasant surprise. You brought this on yourself. That's what you get for being so vicious. I glared at him fiercely as his face gradually merged with the tormenting visage from my past life. The fire of rage in my heart burned even fiercer. He approached step by step, scrutinizing me from head to toe. If I weren't locked up, I'd pin you down and inject you with a serum that'd send you to Cloud 9. Ha ha ha. I couldn't take it anymore. Peiyu, you'll burn in hell. With that, I turned and fled. Even after leaving the dungeon, I was still panting, haunted by the twisted look on Peiyu's face. But at least in this lifetime, I'm finally free of him. Pei Chuan came home in the evening, drunk. He staggered into the room and collapsed onto me, sending us both tumbling to the floor. You're drunk, let me make you some hangover soup. I tried pushing him off, but he didn't budge an inch. His hands were constantly fumbling with his clothes, while those intensely possessive eyes were fixed on me. It instantly dawned on me that he was fully conscious. Pei Chuan, think clearly about what you're doing. We're just business partners, you can't touch me. He clapped a hand over my mouth and whispered in my ear, no matter what, you're my wife, and I'm going to touch you. I shoved him away forcefully. No, I'm divorcing you. Don't touch me. The room fell silent the moment those words were spoken. Pei Chuan's face darkened. I knew you'd leave me. He let go of me as he said this, looking defeated. Sun Yen, you're such a heartless woman. Have you forgotten about me all along? I stared at him in confusion. Do you still remember Chuan Chuan? His words sent me back to my childhood, when I was still in elementary school. Back then, there was a long-haired boy at school who always wore a face mask. Everyone used to mock him, calling him a sissy. I stepped up to protect him and took him to the hills behind our school. You can't keep being this timid. You've got to learn to stand up for yourself. He slowly looked up at me, removing his mask. Thanks. I'm actually growing my hair out to donate to my aunt. She has cancer. That's when I finally saw his face. I never expected him to be this handsome. I fell for him at first sight, and from then on I followed him every day to protect him. He told me his name was Chuan Chuan. Later, his aunt passed away and he moved away. All these years, I've been searching for you. It wasn't until the day I could hear your thoughts that I realized you were the one I'd been looking for, because yours are the only thoughts I can hear. I never acknowledged you because I wanted to see if you'd come to me first. I wanted to know if you still remembered me. 11. Until one day, I heard your heart's true voice. You said once you saved up 10 million, you'd leave me. I know I've been avoiding you these past few days because I don't want you to go. As he spoke, his eyes welled up. I never imagined such an incredible coincidence. He can actually hear people's thoughts too, and I realized you could hear my inner voice, so I deliberately thought those things to confirm it. I looked at him with guilt. I'm sorry for using you. I was just terrified of being abandoned again. That's why I planned to leave once I'd saved enough money. So are you still leaving me now? I shook my head. I wanted to leave before because I thought he didn't love me, that staying would only bring unhappiness, and I'd be better off on my own. But now I've learned he's Chuan, and that he's been waiting for me all along, so I won't leave anymore. It suddenly dawned on me why he had resisted my sister so fiercely in our past life. He must have known it wasn't me, that's why he wouldn't touch her. As this thought crossed my mind, I felt his warm lips press against my cheek. He whispered softly, "Sonny in. Stay with me forever." My eyes grew moist. Yes, we'll stay together for a lifetime. Thank heavens for giving me a second chance, so I didn't miss out on my beloved. Story 2. During the post-college entrance exam summer vacation, my boyfriend wanted to go explore the Qinling mountain caves. I tried to dissuade him from going. Others got trapped in the caves and died on the spot. Only my boyfriend and I narrowly escaped. Years later, we graduated smoothly and began discussing marriage. On my wedding day, my fiancé strangled me to death with my own veil. If you hadn't stopped me from going on that expedition back then, Yaya wouldn't have died. It turned out he'd always resented me for stopping his adventure, blaming his white moonlight's death on me. When I opened my eyes again, I'd been reborn on the day of that fateful expedition. The underground cave was pitch black, bottomless in its depth. My boyfriend panted excitedly and asked me eagerly, "Darling, should we keep going forward?" 1. Should we keep going forward? Hearing my boyfriend's voice, I immediately shivered. In my memory, I was strangled to death by him, in the hotel's wedding venue, under the witness of family and friends. My boyfriend lifted my veil. I closed my eyes, waiting for the kiss, but the next second, my boyfriend suddenly lunged, viciously tightening the veil around my neck, veins bulging in his palms. Bang! The microphone crashed to the floor. The host screamed in terror, and the crowd panicked and fled. My boyfriend pulled the veil tighter, his eyes bloodshot red. I struggled, crying out in confusion, asking, "Why, Jichin, why do you want to kill me? We went from campus to wedding gowns, saved up millions in savings, and just bought a house. I'm even carrying his child in my womb. Why would he do this?" Jichin suddenly exerted force, tightening the veil around my neck. His gaze grew unfocused. I heard his grief-stricken yet resolute voice. "If you hadn't stopped me from going on that expedition back then, Yaya wouldn't have died." So that's how it was. He has always resented me for stopping him from exploring the cave during our summer trip in senior year of high school. He even believed I was responsible for the death of his beloved, so he lurked in the shadows for years, deliberately taking revenge on me at the wedding. But, if I hadn't stopped him back then, we're all going to die in this cave, darling. My boyfriend's call snapped me back to reality. I've truly been reborn. This is the 4th day of our summer vacation trip exploring the Qinling Mountains. At this moment, we are currently in a cave more than 300 meters underground. The air is thin, and the surroundings are cold and pitch black. Only the faint glow from the searchlight above remained. I spoke coldly, "Ji-Chen, aren't you the team leader? Why ask for my opinion, since you're so determined to rush to your doom?" "Then of course I'll oblige." 2. In the previous life, it was here that Ji-Chen asked me if we should continue forward. At that time, sensing danger, I firmly pulled Ji-Chen back the way we came, but my best friend Zhou Yu insisted on venturing deeper into the cave, and so, we'll split up and part ways at this cave entrance. In the end, Zhou Yu's team got lost and was trapped in the cave, resulting in their deaths. My boyfriend Mingming narrowly escaped disaster because I stopped him. Yet he turned around and blamed Zhou Yu's death on me. "In this lifetime, there's no one to stop me," the boyfriend said decisively. "Since everyone agrees, let's proceed further." "Wait," I called out to stop them. "I want to withdraw here." "Nonsense," the boyfriend frowned and scolded sharply. "We've come this far with great difficulty, and you want to turn back," I retorted. "It was you and Zhou Yu who tricked me into coming here in the first place. I have no interest in adventure at all." The one who truly loves adventure is Zhou, not me. After the college entrance exams ended, my boyfriend and best friend said they would take me on a trip to give me a surprise. I thought they would take me to some viral tourist spot, but who knew they'd actually bring me all the way to the uninhabited Qinling Mountains. Upon hearing my words, a flash of guilt crossed my boyfriend and best friend's faces. I sneered, "I won't trouble you, just give me a map, I can find my own way." We've been inside the cave for several hours now. The terrain here is complex, with several branching paths along the way, but with a map, I'm confident we can make our way back safely. Yet my boyfriend still disagrees. "I'm not comfortable with you going back alone, Lingling, be good and stay with the group." Zhou also chimed in, "That's right, Lingling. We've come all this way with such difficulty. Why do you insist on backing out now?" The others were giving me unfriendly looks. According to Ji Chen, these friends of his and Zhou's had once pried open a locked cave in the scenic area to camp in the wild no man's land. They were all avid adventure enthusiasts. This time, they came to the Qinling Mountains specifically to explore this underground cave. What if we discover a gold mine here, along the way? We've seen many traces of pre-liberation life. Who knows what other surprises might be inside? We could strike it rich. They had high hopes for this expedition. Therefore, regarding my departure, disapproving expressions appeared on their faces. 3. We were at a stalemate for a while. Zhou spoke up, "If you want to go back, fine, but leave your searchlight and supplies behind." "On what grounds?" I said coldly. "The cave is pitch black without a trace of light. Asking me to hand over the searchlight to you is no different than demanding my life." Zhou quickly hid behind my boyfriend, sticking out her tongue. "You're leaving anyway. It's not like you'll need these things." "Fine, keep them if you won't give them. No need to be so fierce." My boyfriend glared at me. "Enough, hurry up and leave. The air is thin underground. You've already wasted enough of everyone's time." I said, "I'm not leaving. Can't you understand human language? Give me the map." Ji Chen frowned tightly, his handsome face showing impatience. "I don't have any extra maps here." I didn't believe it at all, rushed over to search my boyfriend's bag, and found a spare map. "Then what's this?" My boyfriend felt embarrassed, his expression turning somewhat unpleasant. Zhou suddenly rushed out at this moment. With a rip sound, she directly tore the map apart. "Are you insane?" I exclaimed in disbelief. My boyfriend tightly gripped my shoulders. The map fragment was lightly tossed deep into the cave. "Alright, now the map is gone too, let's hurry and go." My boyfriend patted me. The others glared at me, annoyed that I'd wasted their time. Among them, a girl in red rolled her eyes at me. "Had enough, Brother G. This kind of woman is just being dramatic." Zhou also chimed in at the right moment. "Lingling, you're not in good health, Brother G, and I really can't rest easy letting you go back alone. Just keep going with us." But in her eyes, there was unmistakable malice, knowing full well I'm not in good health, yet deliberately bringing me along for this adventure. Isn't that just wanting to see me make a fool of myself? I gritted my teeth and conceded through clenched jaws. "Fine, I'll go with you. I'm staying to watch you all march to your doom with my own eyes." 4. Nature's craftsmanship is both perilous and enchanting. We pressed onward, passing numerous stalactite formations and the rushing sounds of underground rivers along the way. "So beautiful." Zhou was very excited and handed me her phone, asking me to take a photo of her and my boyfriend. She tightly held onto Ji Chen's arm, their fingers interlaced in the dim light. The way Ji Chen unintentionally looked at her was both restrained and affectionate. But all I want to do is vomit. Ji Chen and Zhou were my high school classmates, after the college entrance exams. It was only with Zhou's help that I confessed to Ji Chen, but who would have thought they were actually having an affair? Now that I've been reborn, I finally understand. They were just taking advantage of my family's wealth and my generosity to friends, deliberately conspiring to cheat me out of money, treating me like a fool. I threw my phone directly onto the ground, letting Ji Chen glare at me with a livid face. Besides stalactites, the cave also contains traces of 20th century human activity. Someone excitedly pointed and shouted, "There's another saltpeter maker." Continuing downward, the cave entrance began to narrow. I glanced at the Beidou watch on my wrist. Currently, we've reached a depth of 400 meters underground. In my previous life, I didn't venture this deep into the cave. Under the searchlight's glow, I carefully examined the surrounding stone walls. My family owns a mining company, so I've been familiar with various ores since childhood. The rock wall here shows obvious quartz vein mineralization, with faint hints of green and gold. The green coloration could potentially indicate associated minerals. As for that streak of gold, thinking of one possibility, my palms began to sweat. Could it be a gold mine? 5. The people ahead walked farther away, not noticing the pause in my steps. Suppressing my pounding heart, I pretended nothing had happened and continued following them. We took another break at a slightly wider cave opening. Having walked this far, I'm already feeling some chest tightness due to insufficient oxygen levels. Ji-Chen held the map and gestured. The cave ahead is called the Labyrinth of Death. No one has ever explored this place before. Zhou also got excited, tugging at Ji-Chen's arm and shaking it. When we make it through the entire Labyrinth of Death, let's rename it after both of us. Ji-Chen's gaze softened. Alright, heh. I'm afraid they won't have this opportunity. In the previous life, Zhou and the others met their end here. The death maze has complex terrain, with cave passages averaging less than 80 centimeters in diameter. Even the most professional explorers can't take it lightly, especially since they were just a group of amateur explorers, not even properly equipped. After resting for 15 minutes, Ji-Chen led the team to set off again. He excitedly stuck his head into the tunnel. It's a bit narrow here. You'll need to suck in your stomach to get through, he cautioned the people behind him. Then, he slowly felt his way forward, inching along with slight body movements, finally making it through the narrow passage. It's quite spacious up ahead, you can come through now. Zhou followed closely behind. The others filed in one after another, following them. When it was my turn, I pretended to be anxious and shouted, "It's too narrow here. I can't get through." Zhou covered her mouth and mocked, "I told you girls shouldn't weigh over 100 pounds, Lingling, your waist is so thick, you definitely can't fit through." Bullshit. With my height of 1.7 meters and weight of 50 kilograms, do I still count as fat? Ji-Chen turned his head and said, "Give her a hand. The one in front of me is that girl in red. What a burden." She rolled her eyes at me and gave my arm a perfunctory tug. "Brother Ji, I can't pull her. It's no use." Ji-Chen had no choice but to say to me, "Then how about you wait here for us?" A proper expedition team would never leave a member behind. The cave is dangerous. Getting separated from the main group without sufficient supplies could easily be fatal. Fully aware of what was about to happen, I simply said, "Alright." Then, I sat there calmly, conserving my energy. Ji-Chen and his group continued exploring the cave, moving farther away from me. Through the thick stone wall, I heard the muffled voices of him and Zhou. "There's a fork ahead. Wait, let me check the map. Brother Ji, the left path is wider. We should take the left." After a moment, Ji-Chen said dotingly, "Yaya is so smart. Alright, everyone follow me. There's another narrow path ahead. Everyone, remember to inhale as you pass through, just like before." But the next second, Ji-Chen's voice suddenly became distorted with terror. "No, it's a dead end ahead. Quick. Retreat." 6. Chaos erupted inside the cave. The path Ji-Chen led them through was a narrow passage no wider than 60 centimeters, with a downward slope of about 30 degrees. The cave winds and twists, making it difficult even for adults to turn around. Now, they had no choice but to turn back and attempt to climb up again. The girl in red, who was originally at the end of the line, now found herself at the front. Panting heavily, she squeezed past the protruding rock wall, poked her head out of the cave entrance, drenched in sweat, and yelled at me, "No common sense. Don't you know to give me a hand?" I nodded. "Oh." Then, I walked over to her side, just as she had done to me earlier. My fingers lightly brushed her arm. "Oh dear, I can't pull it." The girl in red angrily punched the wall in frustration. "Haven't you eaten? Put some strength into it." The people behind grew impatient and forcefully pushed the girl in red forward, but due to the angle, the girl in red's hip bone scraped heavily against the stone wall. "It hurts, stop pushing me." When she emerged from the stone wall, there was a bloodstain spreading on the side of her pants near the hip, and her right ankle was sprained. She sat there glaring at me resentfully. The others, in their haste, didn't fare much better when they came out, each bearing various degrees of scrapes and bruises. Finally, only Zhou and Ji-Chen remained in the cave. How could this be a dead end? "The map clearly shows it's right here." Zhou continued to argue stubbornly. Ji-Chen comforted her. "It's alright, let's get out first." I used the flashlight to illuminate the tunnel, only seeing Zhou's legs flailing incessantly. Good grief, they went in headfirst. For a moment, I was at a loss for words. This tunnel slopes downward. Logically, it's best to enter feet first to avoid getting stuck in an upside-down position. After all, it's possible for a person to die from being upside down for an extended period. Ji-Chen kept trying to push Zhou outward with his feet, but due to the cramped space and obstructed vision, He couldn't see exactly where Zhou Yu was behind him, making his efforts futile and only wasting energy. A few minutes later, the others rested and went to help as well. They took turns pulling Zhou Yu's legs, yanking backward with all their strength. Zhou Yu also cooperated by wriggling her body. But she remained firmly stuck against a protruding rock, not budging an inch. After several failed attempts, others also waved their hands in exhaustion, panting heavily. "No way, this is too exhausting." The girl in red grew somewhat fearful. "Maybe we should call the police." "Is that really necessary? We'll definitely get out," Ji-Chen declared loudly. "Don't worry, I'm perfectly fine now. Once everyone's rested, we'll tie the rope to Yaya's feet and try one more time." The others also saw no need to call the police, so they drank some mineral water, massaged their sore muscles, and adjusted their breathing. I took out a piece of compressed biscuit from my backpack, glancing at my watch out of the corner of my eye. It was 3 p.m. Ji-Chen had been trapped for 15 minutes. 7. After resting once more, following Ji-Chen's instructions, the others tied the rope around Zhou Yu's legs and pulled backward with all their might. 1, 2, 1, 2. I stood at the very end, loosely holding the rope with both hands, pretending to exert force like everyone else. Zhou Yu let out a scream of pain. After roughly a dozen such tugs, her entire body finally slid backward a short distance. It moved. The others were greatly encouraged and once again pulled the rope together with concerted effort. Zhou Yu pressed both hands against the rock wall, exerting all her strength as her body gradually inched backward. In the end, the others discarded the rope, grabbed her ankles, and forcefully pulled her out. "Ah!" Zhou Yu let out a sharp scream. "What's wrong?" The girl in red stepped forward to check, only to see a deep streak of blood on Zhou Yu's cheek. "My face got cut by the rocks," Zhou Yu cried out. Her once delicate face now bore a bloody mark stretching from the corner of her eye to her mouth, with flesh torn outward. "Who has something to stop the bleeding? Quick, look around," the crowd clamored. But after searching for a long time, none of these amateur explorers had thought to bring a bottle of alcohol. Finally, Zhou Yu could only take a tissue and, sobbing, pressed it against the wound. After comforting Zhou Yu, someone asked Ji-Chen, "Brother Ji, are you okay now?" "I'm fine. What about Yaya? Has she gone out?" After receiving an affirmative answer, Ji-Chen finally felt at ease. Only then did the others begin preparing to rescue Ji-Chen. The beam from the high-power flashlight illuminated the tunnel. Everyone leaned forward to look. The gray rock walls on both sides tightly encased Ji-Chen. His upper body was wedged into an unknown tunnel passage, leaving only his lower half trapped in the passage where the others were confined. From a distance, he resembled a sandwich cookie, his situation 100 times more dire than Zhou Yu's. 8. Someone had once discussed it. What is the most terrifying way to die in the world? The highly upvoted answer featured an image of a person being twisted and crammed into a toilet. A full-grown adult was forcibly squeezed into the narrow toilet space. The trapped person hunched their back, hugged their legs, with no room to move, left only to await death. This is precisely Ji-Chen's current predicament. At this moment, Ji-Chen spoke up. "Can you come in? Tie the rope to my foot and pull me out." To tie the rope to Ji-Chen's foot, someone would have to enter the cave again headfirst. But after what happened earlier, no one dared to take the risk again. As they looked at each other in hesitation, suddenly, the girl in red pointed at me with malice in her eyes. "Let Zhao Ling go. We've been struggling for so long and are all exhausted. Only Zhao Ling hasn't entered the cave from the beginning." The others chimed in. "Right, isn't she Brother Ji's girlfriend? She should be the one to contribute." Ji-Chen inside the cave also agreed. "Lingling, then it's your turn." The surrounding people echoed in agreement. I coldly crossed my arms and met each of their gazes one by one. "The reason I didn't enter the cave is because I couldn't. Do you want me to get stuck at the entrance and delay your rescue time for Brother Ji? Don't forget, Ji-Chen has been trapped for half an hour already. Besides, you still remember I'm Ji-Chen's girlfriend. I bet Zhou Yu is the one you all consider as your sister-in-law." Zhou Yu covered her face and mumbled, "Lingling, don't be jealous for no reason. Ji-Chen and I are just good friends." I cut her off directly. What kind of good buddies hold hands with fingers interlaced? Guan Yu and Zhang Fei certainly didn't act like that. Someone let out a long sigh. "How about Yaya goes into the cave again? You're the slimmest among us girls. This time we'll hold on to you so you won't get stuck." Zhou Yu however shook her head in terror and stepped back. "No, I won't go." Ji-Chen waited impatiently for the result and began to urge. "Have you all made a decision? I'm having trouble breathing." Finally, a lean-framed young man volunteered to enter the cave. He tied the rope around Ji-chen's feet and emerged from the cave unscathed after a close call. Outside the cave passage, everyone began pulling with all their might again. 1, 2. The rope tightened and loosened under the strain, sweat pouring down everyone's foreheads. The rope slowly moved backward a short distance. It's working, Ji-chen shouted excitedly to the outside. I've moved out a bit. Everyone continued to pull the rope with great effort, but the next second, the rope suddenly snapped under the tremendous force. Bang! The broken rope whipped fiercely across the face of the person at the front of the line. All of us suddenly lost strength and collapsed to the ground. As the rope snapped and gravity took over, Ji-chen slid further into the cave, his body tightly wedged against the rock wall. Brother Ji, are you okay? Ji-chen responded with difficulty. I'm fine, but the searchlight is broken, we've lost our light source. Don't rush, let's look for another rope. The group took out a new rope and tied it to Ji-chen's leg again. But this time, no matter how much they sweated, they couldn't pull the rope at all. It was truly stuck too tightly. Finally, someone said with a grave expression, we should call the police. 9. After Ji-chen was trapped for 3 hours, everyone finally decided to call the police. Brother Ji, we've called the police, hang in there a little longer. That's right, the rescue team will definitely find a way. The group remained relatively optimistic, but I didn't share their optimism. This cave was found by Zhouyu online. Located deep in the Qinling Mountains, it took us 2 full days of mountain trails to get here. The rescue team probably won't arrive anytime soon. After hanging up the emergency call, a group of people sat silently on the ground, momentarily speechless. Suddenly, the girl in red tightly grabbed Zhouyu's collar and shouted, it's all your fault, you misread the map and got Brother Ji trapped. She unfolded the map and pointed. Didn't you say you often go exploring? How could you mistake such an obvious fork in the road, one wide, one narrow? Someone started trying to mediate the argument. Alright, yeah, didn't mean to do it. Zhouyu began to sob quietly. Ji-chen heard the commotion and still had the mind to comfort Zhouyu. Don't cry, yeah, it's okay, but his voice was so hoarse, barely any strength left. During the wait for the rescue team, others occasionally tried pulling the rope, but without any effect. All attempts ended in failure. Having lost the searchlight, Ji-chen was trapped in a narrow, pitch-black space for a long time, unable to see anything. Gradually, his voice took on a tinge of fear as he kept asking us, are you still there? 5 hours later, the rescue team arrived. They were faster than I expected. They must have used a helicopter. The rescue team leader asked us, who among you is close to him? Talked to him for a while to help calm his emotions. Just then, Ji-chen's hoarse voice came from inside the cave. Yeah, are you there? Everyone then turned to look at Zhouyu, but she stepped back in tears. No, I won't go. The rescue team leader persuaded. He's been trapped for 7 hours now. Aren't you his friend? Couldn't you help him? Don't worry, we'll ensure your safety. Zhouyu broke down and shouted, I won't go. I want to leave. I want to get out of this damned place. Ji-chen fell silent. 10. One of the rescue team members put on his gear and climbed into the tunnel. Holding a drill in his hand, he continuously chiseled at the rock wall, seemingly trying to expand the cave space. However, because the rock wall was too solid, after 5 minutes of drilling, the cave only had a few more scratches. The rising dust danced under the illumination of the headlamp. Ji-chen choked and coughed violently several times. No, the rescue team member shook their head. The drill can't penetrate, and the dust and debris would pose a suffocation risk to him. Seeing this, several other rescue team members began using protruding rocks to secure pulleys. The rescue team leader took a moment to explain to us, we'll use a pulley to pull him up. Don't worry, we've rescued over a dozen expedition teams this way. Your friend will be safe and sound. It's currently 9:45 p.m. Ji-chen has been maintaining a handstand position without eating or drinking for a full 7 hours. Prolonged handstands may not only lead to suffocation but could also potentially cause heart failure. Ji-chen, in my previous life, I took you away from the cave early, yet you held a grudge and killed me with your own hands. In this life, is this really what you wanted? Meanwhile, the rescue team battled against death, racing against time to install the pulley. Others took turns speaking to Ji-chen at the tunnel entrance. Brother Ji, say something. Ji-chen's voice was faint. I'm still here. They sighed in relief and continued comforting Ji-chen. As long as you can speak, that's good. Little did they know, Ji-chen's voice trembled, his words coming out broken and incoherent. Clearly, Prolonged oxygen deprivation had caused brain damage. Finally, after assembling the pulley and ropes, the rescue team began pulling the rope. Several pieces of rubble were shaken loose by the tremendous force. I moved. Ji Chen's faint voice gave the rescue team a morale boost. The rescue team pulled the rope with even greater effort, while others encouraged Ji Chen. Hold on. To ease Ji Chen's nervousness, the rescue team members initiated a conversation with him. You mentioned you're 18 this year and just finished the college entrance exam. How did you do? I scored over 600, enough to get into a 985 university. Impressive. What major did you apply for? I applied for computer science. My mom said it's easier to find jobs in this field, and eventually, I could earn hundreds of thousands a year. Alright, young man, you've got a bright future ahead. Suddenly, with a bang sound, Ji Chen let out a painful howl. What's wrong? Initially, Ji Chen's lower body was in the previous tunnel, but because the rope had snapped earlier, he had descended further down. As a result, there was an angular difference between his legs and the previous tunnel. If the rescue team continues to exert force, his legs will only slam hard against the rock wall. After analyzing the current situation, the rescue team leader said with a serious expression, if we want to continue rescuing him, we'll have to break his legs. 11. Gasps immediately sounded around them. No way. Are you fucking here to save people or to kill them? The rescue team captain was shoved backward. After steadying himself, he shouted sternly, this is an emergency. Who has time for jokes with you? Zhou Yu retreated to a corner nearby, lowered her eyelashes, and pretended not to hear anything, but the next second, the angry crowd immediately turned their spears toward her. Zhou Yu, you clearly can't read a map, so why did you point randomly? It's all your fault that Brother Ji ended up like this. Zhou Yu was slapped across the face. She had remained silent all this while. At this moment, she finally erupted, leaping up abruptly. Had enough of the insults. When will this ever end? Ji Chen is just my lapdog. I can order him around however I want. Why should you care? Stop arguing. Ji Chen panted heavily, interrupting them. Isn't there any other way? The rescue team leader rubbed his temples and sighed. No choice. The tunnel is too narrow. Our team can't reach that deep. We can only use pulley traction. Ji Chen's voice began to tremble. Can't we try some other method? I'm only 18 this year, just finished the college entrance exams. If my leg gets broken, how am I supposed to go to university? The situation immediately reached a deadlock. The rescue team made several more attempts to pull the rope. Without exception, Ji Chen's legs repeatedly collided with the stone walls, leaving them almost dripping with blood. After a full hour of struggle, I faintly heard a boom sound. Was that thunder? I asked with a trembling voice. Others glared at me and scolded. Brother Ji has been trapped for so long, and you're still worried about thunder. But the rescue team members instantly changed their expressions. One of the rescue team members couldn't help but curse. Don't you cave explorers know what consequences rain can bring? Underground caves are natural connected vessels. When it rains, the water level in subterranean rivers rises. If we don't leave in time, we'll all drown. Daring to enter the cave without knowing anything, you're really here to throw your life away. Hearing this, Zhou Yu was the first to react. She grabbed the rescue team leader's arm fiercely. Forget about Ji Chen. Get us out of here first. The girl in red took a deep breath. Zhou Yu, how can you be so selfish? Are you suggesting we abandon Brother Ji? Zhou Yu yelled. What else? Whether he lives or dies is none of my business. Are you only satisfied if we all drown here? The rescue team leader pushed Zhou Yu aside and contacted the ground rescue members via walkie-talkie. After a brief communication, he turned back with a grave expression. The light rain will turn into heavy rain in an hour and a half. It takes at least an hour for us to return, so we only have half an hour left for him. Another deafening boom sound. It struck close to our ears, as if divine wrath. At this moment, after a long silence, Ji Chen finally spoke. Everyone present clearly heard his hoarse voice. Then, just break my legs. 12. Ji Chen's parents were rushing to the Qinling Mountains. The rescue team contacted members on the ground via radio, asking them to call Ji Chen's parents. Amidst the crackling static, the call connected. Ji Chen's voice carried exhaustion and helplessness. Dad, Mom, the rescue team said if they want to save me, they'll have to break my legs. There was a commotion on the phone, and Ji's mother fainted on the spot. The rescue team leader explained the situation to Ji's father. Just as Ji's father was about to agree, Ji's mother woke up. No, Ji's mother objected. My son is only 18, and he got into a 985 university. If his leg is broken, his whole life will be ruined. Think of another way. The rescue team leader struggled to explain. It's raining here. If we can't rescue your son within half an hour, he'll drown trapped in this spot. Mother Ji shouted. I don't care. That's your problem. Ji Chen's weak voice said, Mom, do you really want me to die here? Mother Ji remained silent. Xiao Hu bought document anti-piracy, bookfinding machine. Choose Xiao Hu, reliable and steady, no pitfalls. After a long while, earth-shattering wails came from the woman on the other end of the phone. Father Ji took the phone and said tremulously to the rescue team, go ahead. After obtaining consent, the rescue team began preparing to break Ji Chen's leg. Rescue team members entered the tunnel and started wielding sharp tools. Bang, bang, bang. The commotion inside the tunnel was terrifying. The rain is getting heavier. Move quickly. The rescue team leader gripped the radio tightly and urged. Ji Chen let out screams of agony. Thick, sticky blood slowly flowed, mixing with the dripping rainwater in the cave before disappearing into the underground river. After about a dozen strikes, the rescue team member wiped the sweat off his brow. All right. His leg is already broken. Let's keep pulling the rope. The rain grew heavier, pounding against me through the raincoat. Everyone remained silent. Only the rescue team's heavy panting could be clearly heard. A full 8 hours later, Ji Chen was finally freed. His lips were purple, his face deathly pale, his legs limp. He nearly collapsed. While being supported and led away by the rescue team, he cast a heavy, profound glance at Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu was frightened by that icy stare and kept retreating. And no, it's not my fault. You chose that path yourself. You got stuck on your own. Ji Chen found strength from somewhere unknown. As he passed by Zhou Yu, he suddenly lunged at her, his hands gripping her neck. After all I've done for you, this is how you treat me. You're the one who wanted to go exploring. I only came to keep you company. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. Zhou Yu, give me back my legs. The two men rolled on the ground, mud soaking their clothes. The rescue team hastily pulled Ji Chen up. Stop fighting, hurry and leave. The water level is already rising. Zhou Yu sat up sideways, clutching her throat in terror, coughing violently until tears welled in her eyes. Yet no one cared about her anymore. Someone muttered a soft curse. No one knew who. Serves you right. In the oppressive atmosphere, the rainstorm has arrived. The rock wall became slippery due to the rain, making it difficult to climb. Fortunately, the rescue team had ropes and other equipment, so our return journey was relatively smooth. During the climb, I glanced back. The tunnel where we had just been standing was now completely submerged by rainwater, with waves swaying and drifting. Finally, led by the rescue team, we safely returned to the surface. A dozen rescuers had been waiting for a long time, and they quickly placed Ji Chen on a stretcher and carried him into the vehicle. Someone took my hand and led me up. Boom! The moment my feet touched the ground, another thunderclap sounded. The torrential rain obscured my vision, carrying the earthy scent of the forest. In the distance lies an endless expanse of deep forest. Mysterious and faint, everyone followed the rescue team, leaving the Qinling cave where they had nearly lost their lives. It wasn't until the rescue team escorted me all the way to the nearest hospital that I finally felt a glimmer of reality. Finally, it's over. 13. Summer rain comes quickly, goes quickly. After being taken to the hospital by the rescue team, after the examination showed no issues, I took the high-speed train back home. The dining table was filled with a spread of delicious dishes. Dad was sitting on the sofa watching TV. Mom took off her apron and asked me in surprise, Sweetie, why are you back so suddenly? How was your trip? My nose tingled with emotion as I dropped my luggage and rushed into their arms. I began to enjoy my summer vacation. A few days later, several of my close friends and I have successively received admission letters from our dream schools, so we arranged to meet up. At the dinner table, everyone started gossiping. Have you heard? Ji Chen, the heartthrob of our school, broke both his legs. He's currently receiving treatment at the provincial hospital. My chopsticks paused mid-air. What? He just got into a top-tier university. How tragic. Yeah, I heard his mom keeps crying by his hospital bed. After the dinner gathering ended, I made a detour and went to the provincial hospital. Ji Chen lay on the hospital bed, staring blankly out the window. Beneath the blanket were his legs, brutally broken while he was still alive. The summer heat was oppressive. A faint stench emanated from his bedding, likely because the caregiver hadn't changed his sheets promptly. In the previous life, Ji-chan graduated from a prestigious university and worked at a top-tier company, being the pride of his family and friends. Now, however, he's fallen into such dire straits that he resembles a stray dog. When he saw me, a glint flashed through Ji-chan's eyes. "Why have you come?" "I'm breaking up with you," I said. "After all, you were only with me because of Zhou." "Right, during our time together, the two of you have taken plenty of money from me." Ji-chan lowered his handsome face. "I never thought Zhou was that kind of person." He curled his lips in a sarcastic smirk. "You're still the one who treats me best. When I was with you, I didn't know how to cherish it." I didn't speak. Ji-chan spoke again, lingering. "Can you come over and let me take a good look at you?" I pretended to comply and took a step forward, but in the next instant, a cold glint flashed. He actually pulled out a fruit knife from under the quilt and stabbed straight at my chest. Why? He seemed like a beast that had broken free from its reins, his expression frenzied. "Why didn't you persuade me to leave the cave this time?" 14. With a clang sound, I kicked the fruit knife out of Ji-chan's hand. Before I could subdue him, his weak legs gave out, causing him to fall straight off the bed. "Now, he's nothing but a useless cripple." I rolled my eyes. "After being reborn once, you really haven't improved at all, only capable of impotent rage," he exclaimed in shock. You've been reborn too," I sneered. "We're all adults here. Do you really need someone else to take responsibility for your choices? Go ahead and tell me, why should I persuade you to leave the cave? What am I after? To have you strangle me with your own hands at our wedding?" "Ji-chan, oh Ji-chan, you're truly a man-child. Even glancing at you makes me sick." After saying this, I walked straight out of the hospital room, leaving only Ji-chan sitting on the floor, shouting in resentment. Thanks to being rushed to the hospital in time, although Ji-chan's leg was broken, he successfully survived the complications and managed to keep his life. After summer vacation, he went to register at the university he was admitted to. However, his identity as a disabled person ultimately brought him many inconveniences. First, the student dormitory doesn't have an elevator, so his wheelchair couldn't enter the dorm, forcing him to rent outside. Secondly, he couldn't participate in military training either, missing the best opportunity to build relationships with classmates, not to mention his sensitive and proud personality. Every time he went out in his wheelchair, he always attracted others' attention, even when others meant no harm. Ji-chan still felt they looked down on him. At first, he tried to prove himself through academic achievements, but those 8 hours trapped in the Qinling cave caused irreversible brain damage. He found his mind becoming increasingly sluggish. Sometimes staring at the words in a book for too long can make you dizzy, to the point where even the simplest words become incomprehensible. Even his exam results were just at the bottom of the class. Gradually, he started skipping classes, withdrawing into himself, becoming dark and depressed in his heart. Ostracized and isolated by other classmates. The end, he took a leave of absence during his sophomore year. One day, while going to the hospital for a follow-up examination, he unexpectedly ran into Zhou, that white moonlight he held dear in his heart. After he became disabled, immediately blocked him, unwilling to have any connection with him. But clearly, it was because of Zhou that he ended up in this situation. Ji-chan slowly maneuvered his wheelchair, following Zhou at a distance neither too close nor too far. His gaze was unfocused. What a coincidence. I also love traveling. Let me tell you, when I went exploring in the Qinling Mountains before, there was this idiot who got trapped in a cave and had both legs broken. Isn't that hilarious?" Ji-chan could no longer hold back, maneuvering his wheelchair to crash forward, pinning Zhou beneath him. "What's so funny? I was just accompanying you on an adventure. Why am I the one who ended up with a broken leg?" Ji-chan's eyes turned red as he gripped Zhou's neck. Zhou's limbs flailed and struggled in midair. A passerby stepped forward to help, but Ji-chan exerted deadly force, his palm as hard as iron, eyes completely bloodshot. Looking utterly like a madman, Ji-chan publicly strangled Zhou to death. Later, the police arrived. Ji-chan was also sentenced to execution by firing squad for public murder. Before his death, he kept murmuring, "It shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like this." When everything was finally settled, I suddenly remembered something and went to my parents' room in the middle of the night to shake them awake. My parents, bleary-eyed, scolded me, "You're really something else." With a serious expression, I told them about the possible gold mine in the cave tunnel of the Qinling Mountains. Upon hearing this, my dad got so excited he immediately did a sit-up. The next day, He then went to the Qinling Mountains with the company's exploration chief, carrying equipment. Sure enough, a massive gold mine was discovered inside the cave. During my college years, our family's company flourished because of this gold mine. Our assets instantly gained several extra zeros. And I became a rich second-generation heir. Everything from my past life seemed like nothing but a nightmare. Sunshine dispels the gloom. I walk toward my new life. The end. Story 2. I have feelings for my little uncle. For his sake, I refused the arranged marriage with my childhood sweetheart, but all he said was, "Like you, do you think I'm a beast? I'm your little uncle." I asked him, "But we don't have any blood relationship." He sneered coldly and retorted, "Do I really have to say it straight out that I don't like you at all?" Later, I died in a car accident on the day he got engaged to someone else. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day my childhood sweetheart proposed the arranged marriage. In full view of everyone, I nodded and agreed. The man who was always nonchalant suddenly went crazy. 1. Marriage is a big deal. Coincidentally, Mian Mian's little uncle has returned from abroad and will be here soon. Let's also hear his opinion. Upon hearing this, I immediately looked up at my grandmother. Ji Yanli has returned to the country ahead of schedule. In my previous life, I remembered it very clearly. My grandmother just called to ask for Ji Yanli's opinion, and that man refused in the cold tone I was most familiar with. I can't get away from the branch company in Luxembourg. I can't come back. It has nothing to do with me whom she marries. But this time, why is it different from the previous life? The next second, the sound of the private room door opening pulled my thoughts back. I looked up and met the gaze of the travel-worn man at the door from a distance. 2. Yanli, what do you think about Mian Mian's marriage with the Song family? Probably not wanting to hear Ji Yanli's harsh sarcasm again, I directly took over my grandmother's words. Grandma, I'm already an adult. I can make my own decisions about such things. The man opposite snorted and smiled, tapping the tabletop casually with his fingertips. Then let her tell us her thoughts. Under the eyes of everyone, I took a deep breath. My tone was solemn. I'm willing to marry brother Song Yu. Song Yu is my childhood sweetheart whom I've grown up with. As soon as I finished speaking, the sound of tapping on the table stopped immediately. Ji Yanli stared at me without blinking. Grandma's voice sounded at the right moment. Since you also like your brother Song Yu, then Grandma doesn't have much else to say. I ignored Ji Yanli's gaze and nodded at Grandma and the others. Brother Song Yu just sent me a message saying he's waiting for me at the door, so I'll be leaving now. Stop. Ji Yanli, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly spoke. Ignoring the strange looks from others, he walked straight up to me. He looked down at me. Do you like him that you want to marry him? My voice was very calm. It doesn't matter whether I like him or not now, little uncle. Even if I don't have feelings for him now, we have a lifetime to cultivate them. After all, we'll be husband and wife soon. Ji Yanli looked at me with a dangerous tone. What did you call me? In the past, when I liked Ji Yanli, I always called him by his full name. This was the first time I called him little uncle. He was so angry that he laughed, and without asking for anyone's opinion, he directly pulled me away in front of others. Let go of me. I was pulled all the way to the parking lot by Ji Yanli. Ji Yanli sneered, his hand gripping tightly. Let you go to find your little fiancé. I just felt it was unintelligible. Even if so, it has nothing to do with you, little uncle. I deliberately emphasized the last few words. Upon hearing this, Ji Yanli really stopped. His jaw was tense. He lit a cigarette, seemingly to calm down. Either you get in the car with me and talk now, or I'll go talk to your brother Song Yu directly. I don't know if it's an illusion, but I always feel that Ji Yanli has a much worse temper this time. In the end, I still got into Ji Yanli's car. 3. You can't marry Song Yu. Ji Yanli looked at the steering wheel, his tone broking no argument. I smiled and was about to retort. Then the car window on the driver's side was knocked. This was a public parking lot, and there was a large shopping mall above. Brother Yanli, are you also here to go shopping in the mall? The delicate woman in front of us was Ji Yanli's fiancé in his previous life, Ningxi, but at this time in this life, she hadn't met me yet. The woman's gaze passed over Ji Yanli and she looked at me hesitantly. Who is this? I looked at her calmly and smiled. This is my little uncle. Sister, do you want to have a private chat with my little uncle? Then I'll leave now. As I said this, I started to unbuckle my seatbelt. Ningxi's cheeks turned slightly red. Thank you. Ji Yanli's abnormal behavior just now made me feel dazed for a moment, but the appearance of Ningxi immediately brought me back to reality. This was the destined female lead in Ji Yanli's life. Who said you could leave? Ji Yanli stopped my movement with a half-smile. I instinctively looked up, but my vision spun around. I was held and sat on Ji Yanli's lap. He raised his hand and stroked my side face, his warm palm stroking all the way down to my chin. There was a lazy smile on his face. What's this? Playing the roles of uncle and niece, the man lowered his head and leaned closer to me, his breath spraying on my chin. His deep voice was particularly ambiguous at this moment. Little niece, how come I didn't know you had this kind of hobby? I was completely stunned, my mind going blank, unable to respond. I let Ji Yanli talk nonsense. He finally looked up at Ningxi, who was frozen outside the window. Miss Ning, do you have something to talk to me about? Does it have to be now? I'm not really convenient. After saying this, he held me and adjusted the seat backward, the hint being very obvious. Ningxi took 2 steps back with a pale face. Brother Yanli, how can you hold another woman? Don't you know that I like you? Ji Yanli turned his head and sneered. He seemed to think what she said was absurd. Listen, Ningxi, your liking me has nothing to do with me at all. Stop hovering around me like a fly, please. He deliberately emphasized the word please, and his repulsion towards Ningxi was clearly shown. I slowly came back to my senses. This was very wrong. Even if Ji Yanli disliked a woman, he had never made her so embarrassed in public. What's more, it was his fiancée whom he was engaged to in his previous life. While I was still thinking about it, Ningxi had already run away with tears in her eyes. Little uncle, can you let me go now? I just regarded him as using me as a shield. Ji Yanli's phone rang at this moment. Instead of letting me go, he held me even tighter. He used his other hand to answer the phone. Grandma's voice came from the other side. Yanli, what's the situation between you and Mian? Where did you take her? Ji Yanli didn't answer in a hurry. Instead, he glanced at me and raised one eyebrow slightly. What did you just say? You want to get off my lap? I immediately held my breath and shook my head at him repeatedly, signaling him not to say anything. Grandma on the other end of the phone didn't hear clearly. What did you say? Ji Yanli didn't speak, just looked at me leisurely. I closed my eyes, and had to grit my teeth and lean against his neck. Ji Yanli immediately hugged me back. It's nothing, Mom. Ji Yanli and I have some personal matters to sort out. Grandma didn't ask any more questions. She just gave a few words of advice and then hung up the phone. The air in the car suddenly became silent. Ji Yanli stopped my movement of moving away. He leaned close to my ear. This is the reason why you can't marry Song Yu. I slightly raised my head and looked into his eyes. But you said it yourself that you don't like me at all. Ji Yanli turned his head and clicked his tongue. I didn't say such nonsense. He clearly said it. I won't believe him. I climbed back to the passenger seat huffing and puffing and was about to get out of the car, but the next second, he directly started the car. I leaned against the edge of the car window, counting the cars that whizzed by in boredom. I was also deep in thought, recalling Ji Yanli's abnormal behavior. Suddenly, the car was slammed to a stop. I leaned forward due to inertia. There was a black Kian blocking the way in front of us. Song Yu got out of the car. His face was cold and serious. Mian. Get out, I'll take you back. I instinctively glanced at Ji Yanli. He casually tapped the steering wheel with his fingertips, looking at the boy in front of him with great interest. Did you call him here? No, for no reason. I felt a sense of low pressure. He lit a cigarette, and with a vague smile on his face, he said, your little fiancé has chased after you. I can't just pretend not to see it. After saying this, he stepped out of the car and locked the car door behind him. In the cold evening wind, the two men stood facing each other. Please let Mian out of the car. I won't let her go. What are you going to do about it? Song Yu stopped arguing and directly walked towards the passenger seat, but the moment he got close, Ji Yanli grabbed his arm. Song Yu was slightly shorter than Ji Yanli. He quickly fell into a disadvantage. He was pushed around by Ji Yanli and slammed onto the front cover of his Kian. Ji Yanli's hand was around his neck. What do you want to do to Mian? Song Yu managed to say. Ji Yanli unhurriedly flicked the ash off his cigarette with his other hand and crushed the cigarette butt on the car. Maybe I didn't make myself clear before. Stay away from her. This is my last warning to you. She's mine. She belongs to herself. Song Yu spat out the words one by one. Ji Yanli laughed softly and increased the strength in his hand. I finally found the spare key in the car, opened the door, and ran over in a hurry. Little uncle, let him go, I said as I tried to pull his hand away, but the man didn't move at all. Song Yu was already on the verge of death. In a rush, I had to bite Ji Yanli's wrist. He finally let go. I quickly helped Song Yu up. Do you really feel sorry for him that much? Behind me came Ji Yanli's emotionless voice. I'm also injured, can't you see it? I stopped moving. As soon as I turned around, he picked me up forcefully and threw me onto the back seat of the car. He also got into the car. Just as he was about to start the car, I struggled desperately. What are you doing, Ji Yanli? Didn't you see that Song Yu is already? The man stepped on the gas, and the car roared softly. He held the steering wheel with one hand and smiled lazily. Do you believe that if you mention him one more time, I'll drive over and kill him? Through the rearview mirror, I met Ji Yanli's gaze. My hand clenched the cushion tightly in the dark. Ji Yanli. Killing people is against the law. Are you ignorant of the law? Ji Yanli leaned leisurely against the backrest, his eyes playful. You're right, so I'm going to run over his legs. What do you think? The Song family doesn't have only one son, moreover, it's Song Yu's father who is begging me for the project now. Do you think the Song family wants a project that can firmly establish their position in the business world? Or do they want their son's 2 legs? He laid out the pros and cons in front of me, forcing me to make a choice. I couldn't just ignore Song Yu. In my previous life, when everyone accused me of not being supposed to like Ji Yanli and being shameless, it was Song Yu who protected me time and time again. Little uncle, I'm sorry. In this battle without any cards, I had to admit defeat and show weakness. Ji Yanli didn't move, and the front of the car was still facing Song Yu. Okay, so what should you do in the future? I lowered my eyes and my voice was very soft. I won't contact him again. Ji Yanli's voice softened a bit. Sit back in the front. I did as he said. The man leaned over to fasten my seatbelt for me, and his fingertips rubbed my earlobe. So good. Ji Yanli finally turned the car around and left. I held the seatbelt tightly and looked straight ahead. It was as if I didn't hear Song Yu shouting my name behind me at all. 5. I was taken back to Ji Yanli's villa in the suburbs by him. I stood numbly in the entrance hall, watching him walk to the wine cabinet and drink up the whiskey in the glass in one gulp. He looked up at me while holding an ice cube in his mouth. Why are you unhappy? The sound of him biting the ice cube, accompanied by his casual steps, made me shiver involuntarily. Ji Yanli stopped in front of me and stared into my eyes. Is it because of Song Yu? What exactly do you want? There was still a trace of a crying tone in my voice. Tong me on. Don't play dumb with me, I sniffled. Ji Yanli, if you like me, why do you still force me to do so many things? Ji Yanli didn't think there was anything wrong with that. He gently rubbed my head. Because you're not obedient enough. All the words I wanted to refute got stuck in my throat. When Grandma called Ji Yanli again, I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Finally, the only person who could save me had come. Yanli, when will you come over? We need to discuss Mian's marriage. Ji Yanli looked at me with drooping eyelids, his tone indifferent. I almost forgot. What? Tong Mian's wedding is cancelled. My eyes widened instantly. Grandma was also puzzled on the other end. Why? I had a bad feeling. Ji Yanli looked at me. But he was speaking into the phone. He drawled, but his tone was beyond dispute. Because she's going to marry me, you'd better not interfere in our business. After saying this, he hung up the phone. Ji Yanli, are you crazy? I felt like I was on the verge of a breakdown. What nonsense did you talk to Grandma? Are you trying to force me to death? Ji Yanli threw his phone on the coffee table, picked me up, and then pressed me onto the sofa the next second. We were so close that I could hear his breathing. Didn't you say that? You like me and only want to marry me? I couldn't break free, so I simply turned my head slightly to the side. That was in the past. Ji Yanli held my chin, forcing me to look at him. Then like me again. Tong me on. As long as you stay by my side obediently, I can wait. His gaze moved down to the side of my neck. He leaned closer. The next second, I felt a kiss on the side of my neck. My body tensed up involuntarily. Ji Yanli seemed to be getting even closer. Don't. I tried to find my voice. The man stopped his movement. After a while, he propped himself up with his arm and moved away a bit, hovering above me. Little uncle, can you let me go? Ji Yanli was still smiling, but his eyes were filled with coldness. He placed his fingertips on my lips and gently rubbed them. The meaning was obvious. The remaining words were stiffly swallowed back by me. When Ji Yanli still maintained that posture, the door at the side and rear was suddenly pushed open. A ray of light poured in, and I squinted my eyes due to the glare. What are you doing? Ningxi stood at the door with her eyes wide open in anger. Ji Yanli's expression instantly darkened, and he stood up. Were you following me? Would I have seen this scene if I hadn't followed you? The veins on her forehead were clearly bulging. She seduced you, didn't she? Brother Yanli, tell me, it's like that, isn't it? There was a hint of madness in Ningxi's eyes. Ji Yanli didn't say anything. He picked up his phone and called the security guard. Taking advantage of this gap, Ningxi suddenly strode over. Before I could react, she took out the eyebrow trimmer that she had hidden in her hand and slashed towards my face. There was no time to dodge, so I instinctively closed my eyes tightly, but I didn't feel the pain I had expected. Brother Yanli, I opened my eyes. Ji Yanli's arm was in front of me, bright red blood dripped drop by drop along the wound onto my pants. Spreading out, Ji Yanli didn't pause, he directly bent Ningxi's arm inward. The eyebrow trimmer in his hand was pointed directly at her own neck. Why are you so cheap, huh? A few hours ago, I just rejected you, and now you're sticking to me again. Is it my fault that I like you? Ningxi was forced to take step by step backward, and even a bloody mark had been pressed out on her neck by the blade. You'll soon know if it's wrong or not. Ji Yanli let out a soft laugh and threw Ningxi away. I heard the approaching sound of footsteps. The security guards arrived and took Ningxi away while apologizing. She was in a sorry state, but she was still crying and looking at Ji Yanli. Were you scared? Ji Yanli put away his usual carefree attitude and was rarely serious. Did she touch you? I stared blankly at the man who was crouching in front of me, looking rather nervous. I spoke slowly. You're the one who's injured. It seemed that he only noticed his wound at this moment. Half an hour later, the doctor left after bandaging the wound. I opened my mouth, with mixed emotions. Thank you, little uncle. Ji Yanli was not affected by the wound at all. He took out a cigarette and bit it. There was a slight mocking smile in his voice. You already hate me enough. If you got injured because of me, you'd probably hate me to death, wouldn't you? How could I give you that chance? I ignored his awkward words that were the opposite of what he really meant. I just stared at the bandaged part of his wound and remembered a lot of things. I initially fell in love with Ji Yanli just because he was kind to me. When I was blocked by hooligans in high school and they tried to give me love letters, Ji Yanli specifically staked them out for a week. After finding them, he gave them a good lesson. When my university supervisor replaced my scholarship quota with someone else's, Ji Yanli didn't say something like it's not much money anyway. I'll give you 10 times that amount. Instead, he seriously helped me get back my justice and the scholarship. The atmosphere was unexpectedly relaxed. I was just about to take the opportunity to persuade him to let me go. I accidentally glanced at the phone on the coffee table that kept flashing, indicating that a message had come in. When I picked it up and opened it, I suddenly froze. Song Yu, Mian Mian. I just got home and fixed my phone. Are you okay, Song Yu? Ji Yanli just announced the news that you two are getting married. Are you being forced? Ji Yanli had already announced it. I thought it was just something he casually said to dismiss grandma. I mechanically looked at the man who was playing with his phone. Ji Yanli, what are you doing? He didn't even look up and replied casually, contacting the wedding planner. When did I agree to marry you? The white light from the screen shone on the man's face. He stopped his movement. It was not until the phone automatically turned off the screen that Ji Yanli threw away the phone and walked towards me. Ever since you agreed to the arranged marriage with Song Yu today, I've been very impatient. Don't provoke me anymore. Tong Mian, there are only the two of us in this house. You don't want me to move things forward so quickly, do you? Under his gentle tone was the most deadly warning to me, I think. Probably from that moment on, the last bit of my concern for him was completely exhausted. 7. On the 15th day since I moved in, Ji Yanli came back during working hours. I'm free today. I'll take you to try on wedding dresses. I just ignored the man's words. I hugged my knees and curled up on the sofa, staring blankly at the TV in front of me. During these 15 days, Ji Yanli didn't even lock the door when he went to the company. And he didn't ask the bodyguards to keep watch. He was certain that I didn't dare to run away. In the silent confrontation, Ji Yanli's eyes became darker and darker. Finally, he directly picked me up and put me in the passenger seat. Ji Yanli, is this interesting? He stopped the action of buckling my seatbelt and looked up. I don't like you, and I won't give you any response. Is it interesting for you to perform a monologue all by yourself? Ji Yanli lowered his eyes and smiled softly. It's not interesting, so if you continue to look so listless, click. The seatbelt was fastened, and he raised his hand and gently patted my side face. I'll bring your brother Song Yu over to amuse me. How about that? This was the so-called, like in Ji Yanli's words, an obsessive and pathological possessiveness. He would always only threaten me to make me yield. The car was driving steadily, and I turned my head towards the window. The quiet atmosphere was suddenly broken by a harsh screech of brakes. I was startled for a moment. I turned my head back and just met Ji Yanli's distracted gaze. Can't you drive? Get lost if you can't drive. The car that stopped on the side in front was a dazzling green McLaren, and the owner cursed and turned around and left. A dense chill immediately crept up my spine. The car that caused the accident in which I died unexpectedly in my previous life was a McLaren of the same color. I had originally thought that Ji Yanli's sudden and abnormal behavior was due to the butterfly effect caused by my agreement to the arranged marriage with Song Yu in this life, but now, I have a bold guess. Mian Mian. Ji Yanli leaned over and hugged me tightly in his arms. I could feel his fear. I closed my eyes slightly and then spoke softly. Ji Yanli, you actually remember everything, don't you? I wasn't the only one who was reborn. He clearly paused for a moment, then he hugged me even tighter. His voice was hoarse. Almost every night, I'm awakened by nightmares. When I rushed there in the dream, you were still stuck in the driver's seat. They stopped me and wouldn't let me go to you, until the car exploded. They still didn't rescue you. I just watched helplessly. I felt a little wetness in the crook of my neck. They were Ji Yanli's tears. You were engulfed by the fire in front of me, leaving nothing behind. 8, I think. Maybe I shouldn't have exposed the fact that he was reborn. Ji Yanli had already guessed that I was reborn a long time ago. I lifted the last layer of the half-hidden veil between us, and what awaited me would be an even more terrifying Ji Yanli. You've always been blaming me, haven't you? Ji Yanli pressed his hands on my shoulders, and the last bit of reason in his eyes was on the verge of collapse. He told me that in the past, he thought it was wrong for me to like him, that it was against morality. He got engaged to Ningxi in order to force me to back down. In fact, he had already fallen in love with me. I sighed. Whether you feel guilty or you've really fallen in love with me, it doesn't matter anymore. Ji Yanli. I met his gaze, and without being petty, I said word by word, the point is, I really don't like you anymore. When I see you, I don't feel the slightest bit of excitement. When you confess to me and say you want to marry me, it just makes me more disgusted, really. The next second, a sharp pain came from my shoulder. It was Ji Yanli exerting force. Then tell me what to do. Tong Mian, I got a chance to start over. How can I let go? He wouldn't listen to anything. I was so irritable and depressed that I couldn't catch my breath. The matter of trying on wedding dresses was forced to be terminated. Ji Yanli took me back to the villa in silence all the way. He went straight to the wine cabinet and took sip after sip, after drinking about 4 or 5 glasses. He finally calmed down a bit. I knew that Ji Yanli, who was emotionally unstable at the moment, was the most untouchable, but Song Yu ran into this situation. Boss, a person was caught outside the villa. He seems to have been trying to climb over the wall to get in. Bring him in. Song Yu was pushed in by the bodyguards. My breath involuntarily quickened, and I shuddered. Ji Yanli had no expression on his face, but there was a violent aura in his eyes, as if a storm was about to come. Little uncle, please don't hurt him. Before I could finish speaking, I was silenced by the wine bottle that was smashed in front of Song Yu. What did you promise me? I quickly shook my head. I didn't call him. I really didn't contact him. Song Yu stood in front of me with a solemn face. It has nothing to do with Mian Mian. I came here on my own to take her away. Is that so? The corner of Ji Yanli's mouth curved into an arc, showing a hint of insolence. Who do you think you are to want to take her away? She doesn't want to stay here. She's not happy staying by your side. Even if I'm nothing, I will do my best to take her away. Ji Yanli leaned against the wine cabinet obliquely and clapped his hands symbolically. How great. After making the comment, he looked at me teasingly. Are you touched? I blinked my eyes and tried hard to swallow back the choking feeling. No, don't listen to him. I don't want to leave here. I was almost begging. Let him go. Okay, I don't want to see you hit someone. I'm scared. Ji Yanli walked over slowly and sat me on the sofa with his arm around me. Don't be afraid, I won't do it myself. I didn't relax easily. Ji Yanli, let her go. Song Yu was pressed on the shoulders by the bodyguards and growled. Ji Yanli raised his eyebrows, leaned close to my ear suggestively, and asked in a low voice, do you like him? No, I don't like him. I immediately denied it. I wasn't deliberately lying to appease Ji Yanli. I really only regarded Song Yu as my brother. I agreed to the arranged marriage just to repay Grandma for her kindness in adopting me. Ji Yanli stared into my eyes scrutinizingly. After a while, he seemed to believe me and nodded. Then do you like me? I only hesitated for a second, and Ji Yanli's face turned cold. Yes, I answered while crying. I like you. Ji Yanli gently wiped my tears. Why are you crying? He pinched my chin and lifted it up. If you like me, you won't try to avoid me, right? The wine droplets splashed on the man's collar evaporated in the air. I couldn't help but grab the cuff of his sleeve, not daring to use much force, a few centimeters before touching. Beast, are you trying to force her to death? Song-yu couldn't bear it anymore. Come at me directly, why are you threatening her? Ji Yanli stopped and let me go. He pretended to be in a difficult situation and gave a soft sneer. Tong Mian, look. It's not that I'm not keeping my promise, it's your brother Song-yu who keeps courting death again and again. Ji Yanli walked over, grabbed the back of Song-yu's neck, and forced him to lower his head. How much ability do you have to show off? As he spoke, he pressed Song-yu's neck down. His face was getting closer and closer to the broken pieces of the wine bottle on the floor. Ji Yanli, if you don't kill me today, I will come again to save Mian Mian. I held the phone and shouted out in a breakdown, Ji Yanli, don't touch him anymore, you're violently beating others in a group, if you take another action, I'll call the police, not pretending anymore. Ji Yanli still had that calm and confident attitude, he raised his chin. Go ahead and call, what do you mean by violent group beating? He broke into a private residence, I'm just defending myself. Ji Yanli squatted in front of Song-yu and casually picked up a piece of glass shard. You can try and see who the people's police will take away when they come. My face gradually turned pale, and I let my hand drop feebly. The phone fell to the ground accordingly. Ji Yanli played with the piece of glass shard in his hand. I nervously followed his hand with my gaze. Afraid that he would stab Song-yu with it, he smiled meaninglessly. As for you, don't keep talking about killing people. Do you understand the law? Here's what we'll do. He looked at the glass shard and then at Song-yu. If you swallow it, I won't pursue this matter today. How about it? Or, I'll have someone force your mouth open and stuff all these pieces in, and then send you to the hospital for gastric lavage. Sweat dripped from the black hair on Song-yu's forehead and landed on the ground. After a period of resistance, he had no strength left. I forced myself to hold back the weakness in my legs and walked over to Ji Yanli. I barely managed a smile and hugged his waist. Stop making trouble, okay, I'll be obedient and listen to you from now on. Weren't you going to take me to choose a dress? Let's go, you can help me choose, and I'll help you choose. Okay, behind me came Song-yu's horse crying. Mian Mian, don't bow down to him. I seemed not to hear him and just buried my head in the crook of Ji Yanli's neck. He's so noisy, throw him out. Ji Yanli was like caressing a docile pet, casually stroking the back of my head. Why are you being so obedient all of a sudden? Weren't you still threatening to call the police? I was wrong. I overestimated my abilities. Ji Yanli's hand moved down and rubbed my ear. Mian Mian, since we're going to act, we might as well do it thoroughly. He said in a voice that only the two of us could hear. Then he turned my body around to face Song-yu. Tell him, are you willing to marry me voluntarily? I knew that my bitter smile must look very ugly at this moment, but Ji Yanli behind me was like a gun pointed at my head. Song-yu, I really want to marry Ji Yanli. Please don't bother us anymore, it really bothers me. Song-yu opened his mouth with difficulty but couldn't say a word. The sadness in his eyes was about to overflow. I'm sorry. He was apologizing for nothing. I'm very satisfied. He bent down and picked me up, carrying me towards my room. He's just a useless coward. That car accident wasn't an accident, it was man-made. I looked up. Ningxi ordered someone to do it, he added in a cold voice. When he found out, he didn't do anything. He just kept crying in front of your tombstone. I stared at him in a daze, and my intuition led me to ask, what about you? Ji Yanli stopped in his tracks, and his black eyes looking at me were bottomless. I killed her. I instantly lost all ability to think. Ji Yanli's eyes were dark and gloomy. She planned everything. Just to make me watch you die in front of me on the spot. Should such a bitch die, in this life? Ji Yanli's extraordinary hatred for Ningxi could now be explained. I suddenly remembered the last words Ji Yanli said to Ningxi at that time, so, I paused for a moment before asking softly, what's happening to Ningxi now? Ji Yanli's tone was light, as if he was talking about something insignificant. She's in a mental hospital. A cold sweat broke out in my palms. Ningxi killed me. And Ji Yanli avenged me by killing Ningxi. Even in this life, he had the foresight to lock her up in a mental hospital to prevent her from hurting me. But my first reaction wasn't gratitude. What welled up in me was fear. Fear of the madness and paranoia of the man in front of me. Ji Yanli placed me on the bed and then pressed down on me. I turned my head away in rejection and put my hand on his shoulder. No, why? He didn't move, and his voice was so soft that it was almost a whisper. Ji Yanli. You and I both know the reason, don't force me to hate you even more. Ji Yanli's hand slid down to my waist, tongue me on, what do you hate about me? Is it just because of Song Yu? He straightened up and began to unbutton his clothes from top to bottom. His voice was unhurried. When someone hurt you, I took revenge for you. Since the first time I saw you after returning to the country, I've avenged all the bullying you've suffered. Now you're telling me that you hate me because of a useless childhood sweetheart. I can die for you, can he? At that time, I just thought he was saying it casually in an extreme mood, but you've been forcing me, even house arrest me. Ji Yanli stopped just as he was unbuttoning one of his buttons. The lamp above his head was just blocked by him, the dim yellow light haloed around him, making it hard for me to see his expression clearly. The next moment, Ji Yanli suddenly got up. All the things on the bedside table were swept to the ground by him with a crash. I shrank back in fright. His gaze slowly moved from the mess on the ground to me. He asked emotionlessly, then what should I do? The first time I saw you in this life, you were about to marry Song Yu. Did you ever give me a chance? So what's the meaning of my living this life again? Is it to watch you fall in love with someone else and marry someone else? You all will have a fulfilling life. While I'm still trapped in the past, trapped in the nightmare of that car accident, is that fair to me? Ji Yanli suddenly lost control. He picked up the fallen table lamp and smashed it against the empty wall beside me. Speak. Facing him like this, I couldn't provoke him any further. Tears slowly welled up in my eyes as I looked at Ji Yanli. I sobbed softly, are you going to hit me? Ji Yanli stared at me intently. After a few seconds, he closed his eyes. He sat down by the bedside and gently hugged me into his arms. No, I will never hurt you. Did I scare you? He raised one hand and gently rubbed my head. I'm sorry, Mian Mian, but I wasn't soothed. I still cried intermittently. Ji Yanli also kept coaxing me softly, until I was tired from crying and fell asleep. In a half-awake and half-asleep state, a gentle kiss landed on my forehead. I fluttered my eyelashes and fell into a deep sleep. 10. The plan to choose a dress the next day was delayed again. Because I had a fever, the high fever wouldn't go down. After the family doctor came and gave me an 4 drip, he just told Ji Yanli, Mr. G, it's not necessarily that this girl caught a chill, she might also have been frightened. Ji Yanli watched me fall asleep last night. He had to believe that I got sick because he scared me. In fact, I got up in the middle of the night, turned the shower to the lowest temperature, and shivered under the cold water for 15 minutes. Why are you so delicate? Ji Yanli sat down beside me and rubbed the side of my face with the back of his hand. I just took advantage of the fever-induced drowsiness to avoid all communication with him, to stay by my side. Ji Yanli moved his office to his study at home. But every night I would throw away the medicine prescribed by the doctor. If my body temperature went down, I would take a cold shower again. As a result, I kept having a recurring high fever, and my body was getting weaker and weaker. She's had a fever, and she still hasn't recovered. Ji Yanli looked at the doctor with a half-smile, maintaining the last bit of politeness. The doctor sighed. He said neither humbly nor arrogantly, Mr. G. Long-term psychological problems can lead to a decrease in immunity, and it's not uncommon for the illness to relapse. This girl is getting weaker day by day. If the root cause of the illness can't be treated, she might get seriously ill, or even. The rest of the words were self-explanatory. It was a long time after the doctor left that I heard the approaching footsteps. Ji Yanli lowered his eyes and suppressed all his emotions. Do you hate me that much? I coughed twice but didn't respond. Ji Yanli silently helped me up to drink some water, then helped me lie down again and tucked in the corner of the quilt. He didn't say anything and left. I knew that he was already starting to waver. I might be even more despicable than Ji Yanli. I knew that Ji Yanli liked me and bet on his reluctance to let me go. I hurt myself to force him to let me leave. In this life, every time Ji Yanli forced me and made me emotionally break down, I never thought of fighting him to the death. Being reborn was a second chance for me to make up for my regrets and choose my life again. It wasn't worth it to fight someone to the death. 11. When I thought I was almost going to die of illness and was about to take the medicine because I couldn't hold on anymore, Ji Yanli finally gave in. Intentionally torturing yourself. The man standing by the bedside had silent eyes like a still body of water. I weakly curved my lips and my voice was dry. Let me go, or watch me die in front of you again. When I said again, Ji Yanli frowned. I was deliberately poking at his sore spot. After saying that, I couldn't help coughing. My lungs felt as if they were being gently burned by fire, itchy and painful. Ji Yanli didn't hesitate to come over, pat my back gently, and hand me a glass of water. I didn't take it immediately. When the coughing finally stopped, I had a premonition of something. Why don't you drink it? I paused and opened my hand that had just been covering my mouth. Several spots of blood were prominently lying in my palm. The next second, I heard the sound of a glass breaking. Ji Yanli's hand stopped in the air, and the cup fell from his weakened grip. He stared fixedly at my palm, his eyes bloodshot. Do you have to force yourself to death? A faint itch welled up in my throat again, and I coughed twice. Ji Yanli took a deep breath, as if suppressing something. He took out his phone and called the driver, giving a calm order, drive to the door. Go to the hospital. He took a coat and draped it over me, then took a piece of paper, but he never looked me in the eye from beginning to end. When you recover from your illness, I'll let you go. Ji Yanli opened my palm and wiped the blood on it. His voice was very soft, giving the impression of not caring much, and I will definitely not pester you anymore. If you didn't listen carefully, you couldn't hear the tremor in his enunciation. I knew that I couldn't give him any more chances at this time, so I said something that made him even more sad. Thank you, little uncle. I'll be much happier without you. I also hope that you can find a girlfriend in the future. I'll be happy for you. His hand holding the paper trembled for a moment. Then he wordlessly picked me up, carried me to the car, and took me to the hospital. After getting 2 days of intravenous drips in the hospital, I was taken back to Ji Yanli's villa to recuperate, but he rarely appeared in front of me anymore. He left early and came back late every day. The night before I left, there was a knock on the door of my room. Who is it? It's me. When I heard Ji Yanli's voice, I couldn't help but become alert. What's the matter? I'm already asleep. The person outside the door paused for a moment before asking in a low voice. The weather forecast says it will be cold and rainy tomorrow. You've just recovered a bit. Why don't you leave the day after tomorrow? I blurted out a refusal. No need. Brother Songyu will pick me up on his way. After about another minute, I almost thought Ji Yanli had already left when I heard his voice again. Okay. 12. The next day, it was just getting light, and the rain was still falling patter. There was no sign of Ji Yanli in the living room. I raised my hand and was about to push the door open. Tong Mian. If I didn't completely get rid of Ji Yanli, I would always be worried that he would go back on his word. I frowned and turned around, meeting my wary gaze. He seemed to be stung and lowered his eyes. He was holding a white scarf in his hand. He opened it and put it around my neck. I instinctively took a step back, and his movement also paused for a moment. The scarf can keep you warm. Don't let your illness relapse. Thank you, I replied, and my gaze fell on Songyu outside the window. I thought that my eagerness to leave was written all over my face. Ji Yanli smiled self-deprecatingly and said slowly, maybe I really have some psychological problems, which is why I tried every abnormal means to keep you. Sorry. Only then did I look at him directly. The man in front of me had a hint of tiredness between his eyebrows and eyes. After a long time, I just nodded, then I opened the door and left. I didn't look back even once. In the following years, as Ji Yanli promised me, he never appeared in front of me again. It wasn't difficult to fall in love with Songyu. He always put me first in everything. He wasn't overbearing or violent. He would always listen to my thoughts gently, but he definitely wasn't lacking in a sense of responsibility either. I agreed to Songyu's proposal in the late autumn of the 3rd year. This time, there was no business arranged marriage. It was just driven by pure love. On the day of the wedding, I didn't send an invitation to Ji Yanli. Only grandma called him, but on the day of the wedding, he still didn't show up. Later, I heard from Songyu that Ji Yanli actually gave the project to Songyu among Songyu's company and another competing company. One day, on a whim, I went downstairs to the company to wait for Songyu to get off work. A car quickly passed by in the nearby parking lot. I hadn't thought of Ji Yanli for a long time. But at that moment, I suddenly remembered, Ji Yanli used to have a car of the same series. Mian Mian. Songyu's voice interrupted my trance. I raised my lips and walked towards him. I'm here to pick you up from work. Songyu raised his eyebrows slightly. Then who will drive? I squinted my eyes and smiled, feeling justified. You drive. He chuckled and put his arm around me and left. The project encountered problems at a crucial point, and at the same time, I was also found to be pregnant. Songyu hesitated to speak. It took him a long time to speak with difficulty. One of the factories in the south was hit by a mountain flood. Not only were all the most crucial components destroyed, but it was also said that some workers were killed. Ji Yanli and I have to go there. I comforted him. It doesn't matter. Mountain floods are frequent at this time of the year. You have to pay attention to your safety, you know. I didn't expect that my words would come true. Half a month later, Only Song Yu came back alone. He knelt in front of Grandma, his face mixed with blood and tears. Ji Yanli saved me. I'm sorry for you. I suddenly raised my head, as if I couldn't understand what he was saying. Song Yu said that on the way down the mountain with Ji Yanli, a flood suddenly broke out. They didn't have any experience and couldn't escape. There was only a stone half embedded and half exposed nearby as a high place. It was Ji Yanli who found it. Yanli. What do you think about Mianmian's marriage with the Song family? When Song Yu turned his head, a torrent suddenly gushed out, and he couldn't see Ji Yanli's figure anymore. He was prepared to die, but he didn't even have time to say a final word. When I stood in front of his tombstone and looked into his black and white photo, I felt as if I had traveled through time. I hadn't seen Ji Yanli for many years, because I didn't care. His features had unconsciously faded from my memory, until now. His outline became clear again. I suddenly remembered what he had said for no apparent reason. I can die for you, can he? So, did you save Song Yu for my sake? But no one would answer me anymore. On that day, before I left the cemetery, I met Ji Yanli's assistant, Miss Tong. Mr. Ji had already made a will, except for the fixed share for the old lady. All the property under his name belongs to you. After saying that, he seemed to remember something and continued to add, Mr. Ji said it was in the name of your little uncle, so you don't have to think too much about it. Another half-month passed. The local police in the south called Grandma. I was afraid that Grandma would be stimulated, so I answered the phone for her. The result was that Ji Yanli's body wasn't found. There was only a cloth amulet with some characters embroidered on it. It wasn't certain if it belonged to Ji Yanli. I asked, what are the characters? The other side said, may Mianmian be safe and sound.